what's up, Thrive family? Dr. Mike here with your weekly wellness workshop, where we hope that we can make sure we get you functioning and keep you functioning at your absolute best. So, here today we're going to talk about, and I'm sure our patients here talk about this on a regular basis, is the idea of, in order to keep the human body functioning at its best, we have to mitigate our day-to-day stressors. We have to minimize our negative stress on our body as much as we can and promote more positive stressors on a daily basis. That's what we do here in our office with all of our patients, is to really promote more positive stress on our system so our body can appropriately adapt in a better way. Now, one big topic that's been floating on around our office on a regular basis at this point has been the home workstation, okay? Obviously, we have a lot of people that are working from home right now, and that certainly presents different challenges when it comes to putting stress on our system. Yes, posture can certainly be a stress on our body. Consistent poor postures puts a negative stress on our spine and, more importantly, our nervous system, and can actually cause dysfunction within the system. Not even just the aches and pains that you experience from an outward sense, but directly affect the function of our central nervous system and affect things such as, even just the function of our brain's ability to communicate with our stomach per se. It puts our body into an adverse position, so it's going to have to continually try to adapt to that. Unfortunately, home workstations have become a big challenge for people right now because they are not in a position to have the same kind of tools at their disposal. Thankfully, there are a lot of employers out there nowadays that are providing their employees with more ergonomic workstations to keep their employees functioning at a better level. They find that it actually improves not only employees' ability to produce good work, but it also reduces their downtime, which is something we focus on majorly when we work with any employers. So from the home workstation standpoint, we have a lot of different factors that come into play because no two people are entirely alike. We have people that are either working on desktops, if in the ideal sense, or a laptop is very common right now, or even those individuals that are working more so from even a tablet or possibly even a cell phone, which presents a greater level of challenge when it comes to our posture and our consistent posture more particularly. Now, also, we could have people that are working from a desk. Obviously, as we see here, this is kind of the standard that you probably find at home in a lot of people's cases. But we have people that are working from anything from the kitchen table to the kitchen counter, even the couch, or even in some cases all the way into the bed. And all these present for significant different challenges when it comes to keeping and maintaining proper posture for our spine. So what do we do about it? What can we do to help minimize our negative stressors on our body and keep ourselves functioning at its best in this time when we are forced to work from home? Well, thankfully, I'm here to help you with that one with some simple tips. Now, when it comes to ergonomics, like I said, this is kind of your standard. You'll find this obviously in a lot of offices, but you'll find this in a lot of home offices as well. People working from home at a desk in a desktop situation. It's really the easiest one to kind of play around with from an ergonomic standpoint, because we can do some simple things to really maximize this ability to not put stress on your system. So from that standpoint, a couple of big things we want to focus on. And I think the core of what I want to start with is, regardless of what position we are in, whether we're at a desk, whether we're at a standing desk, whether we're on the couch, whether we're on a bed, whatever it may be, I think the most important thing to note is the idea of staying within a neutral spine. And what I mean when I say a neutral spine is primarily when we look from the side, we want to see that our spine stays fairly neutral. And in terms of that, we're looking at the curvatures of our spine. We should have a forward curvature through our lumbar spine, a reverse curvature through our upper back, and then again a forward curvature through our neck. And we should see that that lines up pretty even. The opening of the ear should line up to about the shoulder, and then should line up right to about the outside of our hip and our pelvis. If we're in line there, we're in a good place. Unfortunately, one of the biggest things I find with most people, particularly when they've been working on a computer for any amount of time, is we start getting into one of these. We're going to see that low back starts to drop out. We're going to end up having a curvature going in the wrong direction. We're going to see some extra arching of that upper spine. The shoulders are going to start to drop forward, and our head's also going to start to drop forward. We're actually going to just be kind of pulled into the computer. The computer is going to act like gravity, if you will. And this puts us in a really compromised position. When we stay like this for hours out of our day, our body is going to start to adapt to this position. And this puts our body into a stressed out position. Nobody wants to be stressed out. So how do we minimize that risk? First off is just staying with that neutral spine. It's a simple idea, just keeping yourself more upright. And I think probably one of the easiest way to be mindful of this throughout the course of your day is to basically limit the amount of time you stay in one fixed position. Unfortunately, we all have work to do, and we all have a requirement to stay at our workstation for a certain amount of time to get a certain amount of work done. So I say what the ideal thing to do is really allot yourself every 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes at most, get up and move around. Our body is designed to be moving. We're not designed to be sitting in a stationary position for hours and hours out of our day. 8 to 9, 10 plus hours for some people. So one of the best things we can do to really just mitigate the stresses of our workplace is to get up and move around. And I don't care if that's just going to the bathroom, getting a drink of water. Even if you're really ambitious and doing some really positive things for your health, get up, do some simple squats, do some stretching, just get your body moving. And that's going to be one of the most biggest benefits to your spine at this point in time and keeping your body healthier when it comes to your workplace position. But as we come back towards our workstation here, a couple big things we want to focus on when we talk about working from a desk like this. Even if we're in a standing position, not a whole lot changes obviously, then obviously we're going to be standing and not sitting. Now for me personally, I really tend to prefer when I'm working at least at this desk in our office to be using the simple stool here. I find this tends to be a better situation for me personally because what it does is it requires me to actually hold myself up. And I think that's one of the most important things to note, is we have muscles. Let's use them. Let's use them to support our body. Let's keep our core nice and tight all the way through. So we're supporting our body and keeping ourselves more upright. This allows me to keep myself in a really dynamic position. I even can place my legs slightly back just a little bit so I can actually almost be in almost a squatting position where the chair is just lightly supporting me. I find this to be a really great position for me to work when I have to be at the computer for any point of time. So I tend to prefer this. Now obviously we don't all have one of these at home, so what do? Most of us probably have one of these great old giants we have in most offices and most home offices as well, your general overall office chair. So this presents a couple different things in terms of being able to support us. As you can see, this one here, if I was to lean back into this and this just is locked up, I'm leaning back pretty good. This is not how I want to be doing my work. I'm not working from a lazy boy. That's not good on your body because not only is this, you're going to end up overreaching your shoulders, you're going to bring your shoulders forward, your head's naturally going to start coming forward and getting more into a flex position. This isn't ideal. So if you're sitting in a chair like this and you feel like that's the case for you, I want you to do one thing. I want you to slide yourself forward a little bit so that there's some space between your knees and the front edge of the chair. You don't want to have that knee right on the edge of the chair. That's going to pull you forward off that back of the chair more than likely, and it's going to allow you to stay more upright. Again, hold yourself up if you need to. Now, the big thing too, what you can do to help yourself out a little bit if you do need a little bit of extra support is just place some pillows in behind you, especially in that lower spine, just to keep that nice and supported so we're not dropping that low spine out and putting it into a bad curved position. Some simple things we can do there. So as we get back into our position here, again, this is actually even a less than ideal chair, particularly for this desk because of one main reason. It puts me way too low. I'm actually sitting really too low at this station, so I'm actually going to hop back over to my stool because I have this position perfectly for me to work at this station. And that puts me in a great position where I can still slide myself underneath my desk so I can still stay nice and close as I need to. But what it allows me to do is it allows me to put my body in a good position. And what we want to focus on is we want to focus on the angles of a couple different things, particularly our elbow, our hip, and our knee. And what we want to do is we want to ideally keep those joints at a 90-degree angle. That's going to put the least amount of stress on our system when we're working from a computer like this. So what I mean by that is like when we're in this position here, as I sit here like this now, you can tell my body's nice and upright, and my elbows are sitting at that nice about 90-degree angle. My hip to my body is at a 90-degree angle, and even my knee, which is a little harder to see, is sitting at a 90-degree angle to my upper thigh. This puts us in a great position. And as I put my hands up to the keyboard here, again, I can stay that. I'm not overreaching forward. I'm not bringing my arms forward like this. I'm keeping myself upright, keeping my shoulders back, and allowing myself to work. This puts us in a great position. Now, one big other thing we want to talk about is our monitor position, because this can change a lot of things for people. Now, ideally, when we're working on a monitor, we want to have one main monitor that we're working off of. I have a lot of people that need to use more than one. If you do need to use more than one, more than likely you can pick one monitor to set as your main monitor. And ideally, you want to have that nice and centered in front of you. Now, additionally, the height of the monitor is very important as well. We don't want our monitor sitting up really high, so we're having to look up towards the ceiling to look at it. We also don't want it sitting really low, so we have to look down. And this is actually what brings me to one of our biggest challenges when it comes to my people that are working from either laptops or, if you can see here, I'm working from like a tablet as well. this requires you to look like this. This is not a good position. Having that chin tucked, that head in that forward flex position for long periods of time is going to put a lot of strain in the body. It's going to put us into a position, you probably heard the term flying around nowadays, of tech neck or text neck, if you will, for some ways. It puts our body in an adverse position and it completely changes the curvature of our spine. This puts a significant amount of stress, not only on the joints of the spine, but more importantly on that nervous system. So let's make sure we avoid that. So for those of us that are working from either a tablet or a laptop, what I do suggest for those people is ideally if you have an external monitor, hook it up to the external monitor. It's going to be a much better position for you because you can elevate that monitor away from the keyboard. That way you can just use the keyboard on the laptop as your normal keyboard and focus on the screen rather than focusing on the screen that's attached. It's going to put you in a better overall position, keep it in a much safer place. Now, if you don't have an external monitor, thankfully nowadays TVs are getting a lot more advanced as well. So you can also screencast up to your TV if that's necessary too as well. It still is going to put you in a better overall position to keep stress off your spine. So it's one of the biggest things I suggest when it comes to our workers working on laptops is to really try to avoid using the screen on the laptop if you can. If you have to do things on that computer for anything more than an hour or two throughout the course of the day. If you're doing your normal 8-hour workload, I really don't want you working on that laptop all that time. It's going to put a lot of stress. So, you can pick up an external monitor pretty cheap right now. It's not too hard to find one. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. It's just enough to put you in a better work position. But when we talk about our monitor position, again, its overall position is important, especially the height of the monitor, as I said. So in the ideal place, we want to have that monitor nice and centered, and we want to look at the top edge of the monitor. And what we want to see is that the top edge of the monitor hits us right about at our eyebrows, if you will. That's going to put us in a nice position so we can keep our head nice and neutral. We're not looking too up or too down. We're looking straight forward, and it puts us in a great place to keep our spine nice and neutral so we can maintain that neutral spine again. One of the biggest importances there. Now, I also want to see that in terms of our monitor position too, or actually just using the monitor, I should say, in order to save our eyes as well and just our overall fatigue level is I do need you to look away from that monitor on a regular basis. You don't want to be locked into the screen for anything more than about 10-15 minutes. Every couple minutes, just look away at something else. I don't care if it's the clock, I don't care if it's out the window. Find something else that you can focus on for a few seconds. It's going to save a lot of strain on your eyes, which will actually just help your body from a stress level as well. So another big thing to focus on too as well. Now, one other thing we want to look at is the way we interact with our mouse. Okay, what I tend to find most people do is they're gonna rest their forearm right on the table just like this. They're gonna grab their mouse and they're gonna do one of these. And you probably can't even tell that I'm doing anything right now because all I'm doing is moving right at my wrist. Okay, this is going to put a lot of stress not only on the wrist, but it's actually going to put extra stress on your shoulder too because you're not actually supporting yourself anymore. So what I suggest when we're using our mouse is really try to use our whole arm. Our shoulder is one of our most mobile joints in our body. Let's use it the way it's designed to be and allow it to actually move ourselves around. So as you're using that mouse, really try to focus on moving your whole arm and not just the wrist. It's going to save your wrist and your arm over the long term there in a big way. Now this is really working from just a sitting station. Now obviously there are those that have the availability to do a standing station. That's an even more ideal place. And like I said, it doesn't change much. You still want your monitor position to still hit you right about that forehead eyebrow level, I should say. You still want your keyboard and your mouse and everything sitting so your elbows are still about that 90 degree. The only big difference is you're going to be in a standing position. So that's a great place to be. Standing desks are great. One of the big things I even suggest for a lot of people is if you have the availability to, stand up and then sit down throughout the course of your day. As I said, moving is a great thing to do. So the more you can adjust yourself and vary your way you're working, it's going to be a benefit on your body. Now, for those of us that are working from an even more challenged position, such as working from a couch or, in the worst case scenario, working from a bed, I would highly suggest let's make sure we can find ourselves a better position. I don't care if you're at the kitchen table, even if you're working on a countertop. When you're in a couch, when you're in the bed, you're going to be in a less than ideal position. You're going to be in really flexed positions in most cases, or you're going to be working off of like your coffee table if you're at your couch. Unfortunately, there's not a great amount of ways to really put this in an ideal place. The only thing I would suggest, if you are working in your living room and you are working off your couch from like a laptop per se, set the laptop right in your lap as it's designed to say, and so that way you're using that keyboard in a fairly neutral position when it comes to here, but really try to get that screen up to your TV so you can keep yourself in a better overall position. So these are some of the bigger tips that I've really been focusing on with our patients on a day-to-day basis right now to keep the body in the best overall position that it can be as we work through this more challenging time of working from home. Obviously, it's not a situation that a lot of us were directly prepared for, so we are certainly helping to make the best of it. Now, for those of you out there that maybe find you have a different situation going on or just not quite sure how to maximize your personal situation, I'm going to actually offer up to you today, throw a comment in the comment section, throw a picture in there if you want to. I can reach out directly to you. I'm more than happy to reach out and provide some insight to anybody out there that's looking to maximize their work from home situation right now to keep the stress off their bodies. So like I said, quick little picture is perfect. If you have a little video, that works well too. I can certainly review those and get back to you in whatever means is best for you at that point in time. So I hope that was a good overview for you guys here today. I know we hit on a lot of different things. By all means, I'm here to provide great information for you. I'm always open to any questions. Always feel free to reach out to us. We're here to keep you guys functioning at your absolute best. We're here to provide that hope and that help on a constant basis. So we are here for you guys. We wish you all the best as you go through everything at this point in time. As always, stay positive. Everything will be well. Our bodies are amazing. Our bodies have a great ability to heal. We just have to make sure we put them in the right place to do so. It's great talking to you guys here today, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care and have an awesome day.